Hel- oh, Hello, my friend. Welcome to Live Chat. So excited to have you here today. This is going to be an amazing live chat. I am so excited because I have one of my favorite YouTubers of all time here. Her name is Marlena Stell, if you have never met her before. And she's the reason why I started my YouTube channel back in my beauty YouTube channel back in 2011. Yep, 2012 maybe. So I am kind of, I've met Marlena before, so I'm not quite as starstruck as I was at one time. But if I come off a little bit like, it's because I'm really excited to have Marlena here. Marlena is the owner and CEO of Makeup Geek Cosmetics. She also owns a clothing company called Marste Fashion, and they're working on a rebranding. She's got a Netflix series coming out. I also want to ask her her opinions about the Shane Dawson and Jeffree Star series and what she thinks about the information revealed there. So it's going to be a really like information-filled, awesome, packed interview, and I'm so excited. So before we bring Marlena on, I just want to say hello to the people that are here in our collective brain of makeup awesomeness, also known as the people that are here in live chat. And this is just when I welcome people into my home, I like to say hello. So hello to Debbie and John and Aaron and Heather and Brittany and Summer. Good to see you. And Giselle and Heather and the devil wears conicals. I don't know what that is. I'll have to look that up later. Jessica and Melanie and Lisa and Kelly and did I miss anybody? And Raven and Susanna and Jennifer. So good to see you. If I did not say hello to you and welcome to Live Chat. I'm going to go ahead and bring Marlena on now. And there she is. Marlena, I'm echoing again.
Am I echoing?
I'm echoing.
Oh, I hear you.
Okay, sorry guys.
We're going to change the microphone.
Okay, hang tight.
There we go. Is that better?
Okay. Nope, I can still hear myself.
Okay. I have output.
Oh wait, know what? It's my fault. I got it. I fixed it. It was my fault. It was a button on my end. I forgot to re-click. It wasn't you. Sorry. Okay. Don't panic. Everything's going to be okay. I just forgot to click a button. We're good. Sorry.
Because me and technology now, I'm at the point now, I cannot learn any new stuff. So even setting up the webcam yesterday, I was like, Lord help us all. This is just past my brain power anymore.
Oh my goodness. I'm so sorry. That was my fault. I did that. It was not you.
Okay.
All right, Marlena. So if you were not familiar with Marlena, hopefully this will give you a wonderful introduction to one of my favorite people that's ever been on YouTube. One thing that everybody kind of knows Marlena for is Makeup Geek Cosmetics. And I do believe she was the first influencer to ever come out with a cosmetic line. Now it is very prevalent that influencers are coming out with makeup lines. I believe you were the first. Is that correct?
So, because I know Michelle Phan came out with her line, but I think that came out after. So yeah, I think I'm the first one, which is kind of crazy. It makes me feel very old, you guys.
So what inspired you to start Makeup Geek?
Honestly, it was because I loved makeup for such a long time. Even when I was a kid, I loved it. And when I was doing YouTube back then, there was no sponsorships, there was no commission, there was nothing. You would get some free product, and even that was very small. And I wasn't able to financially support myself at all. And I couldn't keep teaching and doing YouTube full time. So I chose to go down the YouTube path and pursue makeup. And then I just became a geek about ingredients and such, and spent hours every night researching and just fell in love with it. And was like, you know what? I think I'm going to start my own cosmetic line. I feel there's some holes in the industry I can fix. And I just started with eyeshadows and ran from there.
What were some of the holes that you wanted to fill?
Because at that time, there was such a big difference. I mean, it's different now, but high-end brands were so expensive, and drugstore really wasn't great quality. At that time, you couldn't get any decent drugstore eyeshadows for a fair price. The big one was like MAC and I think Urban Decay, but no one had a ton of like bright, colorful pans that weren't like $12 a piece. And I was like, as a teacher, I couldn't afford that. So I was like, let me try to create them for much less money, have it be, closer to drugstore prices, but have high quality. So that was kind of the first hole I wanted to fix. There was many holes after that, but that was the first one.
So how did you even like, you're like, okay, I want to start my own company. Like where does one even start with that?
Oh, Google is my best friend.
Ah,
I just started Googling and honestly
wow.
started looking up like business advice. I mean, I just spent hours researching online. It was literally learn as I went. So, because my degree was in education, it wasn't in business. So I was literally just
Right.
learning as I went, which is kind of
Wow.
crazy.
That's amazing.
I
So
think I
you're
was just really,
so we both have like these degrees from the University of Google. Like we do
yes,
pretty well with
right? I
that.
love the University of Google. That's why I think I've learned a lot of stuff from Google University.
It's amazing what you can learn on Google. It's
Yeah,
absolutely amazing. I mean, the things that are at our
everything.
fingertips, it's crazy.
Yep, everything.
So, yes, let's see. There was a question about this specifically. Oh, so how the person asked, she said, what are the first steps in developing your own makeup brand? How did you know who to talk to? And how do you know how to develop a formula? And how did you get the money? Like that was a lot in there that in that question. Like, I don't know if you wanted to touch on some of those questions that she had.
Yeah, so the money part, I just literally took all of my YouTube money because I was still teaching and doing YouTube at the same time. So it was just a matter of trying to live off of my teacher paycheck and taking all the YouTube earnings that I could, just save that away for a makeup line. And then as far as getting started, I just started looking up labs. And then my mom and I were actually driving to the different labs because I knew I wanted it to be made in the US or even Canada. Long story short, I kept getting rejected. No one, since I was the first influencer to start makeup line, when they found out I was an influencer trying to do this, they looked at me like I was crazy and I got kicked out of many labs. One of them was actually one of Mac's labs. we
Wow.
we drove from Michigan, my mom and I, 6 hours because they kept rejecting me, wouldn't call me back, wouldn't return my email. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to go in person. So my mom and I drove 6 hours to Toronto and they were like, we don't have time for you. We sat in the lobby. I was like, it's okay. I'll sit in the lobby. We sat in the lobby until they were about to close and they still wouldn't see me. So we drove 6 hours back home. And then I was just persistent. I finally found one lab that would work with me and started there and just grew with them. So yeah, just being
Wow.
persistent, you guys. Be persistent.
That is some serious dedication. Wow, that's
hmm
amazing. There was a
Yep.
really good question Allison asked, and I can't find, there it is. Allison, who's here in live chat, she said, I should know this, but I don't. Is Makeup Geek private label, or did it ever start that way?
The only thing we had private label was the brushes a long time ago. Our brushes now aren't, but in the beginning they were because we couldn't afford to do custom brushes. So we just found ones that I really loved and then, we private labeled those. Everything else has been custom since then.
Awesome.
So just the brushes were.
Is that a lot more expensive to do custom than it is to do private label?
Yeah, because when you do private label, the MOQ, the minimum order quantity is a lot lower. When you do something custom, the standard MOQ is 5,000 per color. So if I want to launch, corrupt eyeshadow, I need to order 5,000 of that versus with private label, you can go as low as like 50 sometimes. So
Wow.
it is more expensive because you have more investment up front.
Gotcha. That's so
Yeah,
interesting. I find this stuff absolutely fascinating. So
I
along
know.
those
It's a huge
lines, yeah.
process.
Oh my gosh, yeah. It's crazy. All the little pieces in there. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Along those lines,
hmm
Makeup Geek has been talking about a rebranding for while. A while. And
Since I
everybody's
was, since
wondering like what is going on, Marlena? What is
me,
happening?
me too. Me too. I feel like it's been half of my lifetime. I think if you guys are impatient with you, like I've been waiting, I feel like half of my life. I feel like I'm going to be old and gray by the time this happens. There's so much that goes on with production, but it is happening. Our launch date right now is January 17th, 2020. I had lots of
Okay.
pushbacks because basically there's not enough labs right now to meet up with production. Like the industry has
Oh.
grown so much, and so everyone's fighting to get in production line. And we've had to move labs a couple times, which I talked about in a video before, because quality wasn't there. And so I pretty much had to start rebrand from scratch, and that put us a good year behind. So I was like, I'd rather, delay it more and have it be better quality than have something go wrong and just throw it out there. So
Right, absolutely.
yes,
So are you doing new
it's
logos
been a
and
battle.
everything? All new products? Like
So the logo will stay the same, the MG, but all of the packaging will be different. a lot of the colors will be different. The pans will be different. The website will look a bit different. There's like a different educational aspect around it. It's called a matrix system. And there's a lot of cool stuff to go with that. It's a unique concept, which I will explain when we have the launch video, but it's very
Okay.
different, but the core product quality is the same. It's just the packaging and all the other stuff is different.
So if I ask you what a
So
matrix
yeah, and
concept is, we're going to hold off on that answer for a little while, or I don't know
yeah,
what that is.
because it's a cool system. It's still
Uh-huh.
like build your palettes. We'll have singles, but we'll have a ton of palettes as well. But everything will be interchangeable and everything's laid out in a colorful way to where it makes sense instead of just having a bunch of random shadows be like, oh, I think that one's pretty. It's like, oh, there's actually an entire row that kind of matches that tone. So it's very methodical. It makes sense. And it's just not thrown together. Like there's a reason behind it. I don't know how else to
Wow.
describe it without giving it all away.
Okay, that's good. That's okay. I'll take what I can get. I'll take what I can get. That sounds really cool.
Yes.
Now, is
But
all of
the
this gonna?
Matrix is coming.
That is so cool. Now, is all of that going to be coming to Target stores as well?
Part of it, yes. Target's getting new product for sure. They're not getting all of the singles because it's just there's not enough shelf space for it. It just doesn't make sense for a retail store to have, you know, 50, 60 singles. It's just a lot of SKUs. So we will have the new colors in there, and some of it will be matrix based. So yeah.
Okay. Now,
Yes.
you're not in all Target stores. You're just in some Target stores or all Target stores.
No, we're working. I mean, hopefully the goal is to be in all Target stores. We're growing. The next couple months, we're supposed to really grow and get up to over 600 stores, I believe. So we
Okay.
just keep adding as they go along. So
Nice. And then
yeah.
any plans to expand further internationally?
Yes, actually, we're in talks with a few different people. I have meetings coming up. We're trying to target one country at a time just to not overextend ourselves. So we'll be starting with the UK first, and then we're hoping to get into Europe, the Middle East as well. So we'll be expanding globally pretty quickly.
Okay. I see Elizabeth wants
So
to know if
yeah.
you're going to be stocking in Australia ever.
That's the plan. If you guys know of a good distributor in Australia, please email my team, email the Makeup Geek site, because that was one that was on our list this last week when we had a big conversation with the executive team, and Australia was one of the ones, and we're like, okay, where do we start with that one? So
Okay, so
we're
there you
trying to
go.
get to you.
All right, Elizabeth, she's
Yeah.
got you in mind.
I
And then
know.
Taylor
But for
wanted to know.
now, we
Go ahead.
ship everywhere.
I'm sorry, Marlene. I
Oh,
didn't mean to cut you
sorry.
off. I apologize. But for
Oh
now,
no, it's my fault. We
it's
ship to
hard.
everyone.
Okay, shipped it everywhere in continental United States? Or you ship
Yes.
everywhere?
No, we ship everywhere. We ship to Alaska and Hawaii too. So we ship everywhere.
Oh, okay.
It's just the reason we're trying to get to distributors is to cut down on the import taxes for everyone.
Gotcha. Okay. That makes
Yeah.
sense. All right. Taylor wanted to know if you're planning on doing any influencer collabs with the rebranding.
Yes. I had a meeting a couple weeks ago with someone, so I can't announce
Oh.
who yet, but you'll be very excited to hear who
Oh.
it is.
Oh, it's not me. Just let you know, it's not me.
Not yet.
Oh, oh. I think I'm about to just had a heart attack. Just right here on the. Sorry. Okay, I got to collect myself for a second.
I should have told you to have some wine first, Jen.
I know I'm drinking water. I'm not prepared for this. I'm not prepared. Okay, I
Always
need.
bring wine.
Yes, I know, right? Seriously, you never know what's gonna happen. I think my heart just jumped into my throat. So. So anyway, I need to get off that topic because girlfriend is like sweating now. All right. So along with owning Makeup Geek, you also own Marste, which is a fashion line, and it is so
Yes.
your aesthetic. When I first saw it, I was like, this is like Marlena in a store. Like it's just every time I've seen you on Instagram, you have this certain fashion aesthetic, and it's like you. It's so you. Are you?
It
We had some
is.
questions. It is. We had some questions about: are you planning on adding anything new to the Marste line anytime soon?
Yes, actually, that was another meeting I had this week was trying to get new design. I'm a little behind on it, to be honest, just because getting rebrand going and having so many issues with production and such has been such a nightmare. So I'm behind on Marste, so we're hoping to
Okay.
have new pieces by spring of next year. So we'll see with that some fresh new pieces, some really cool statement stuff. So I'm excited about that too. It's coming, and
Nice.
pray, I promise.
Yes. And one thing I appreciate about Marste is you have a very wide range of sizes. And that seemed to be a very big
Yes.
priority for you. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes.
So, in case people aren't familiar.
Right. So it goes from size 0 to 22, but a lot of our 22s are actually very roomy. So if you're 24, even 26, you can fit into them. And I'm hoping to extend that sizing even more. But financially, what I can handle right now is 0 to 22 because I have crossed the sides of being plus size and being Mrs. Size. And I was tired of having to always shop at a different store and feel separated from my friends. Like, oh, it was like this divide down the middle, like you're plus size, you're not. I hate that divide. I wanted everyone to be able to shop at the same place and not focus on crossing over this divide that separates women into, plus size or not. It just, the whole business model behind that really irritates me. So that was my core, was to have everything ethically made, high production quality, great working environment, and having it be, Mrs. and plus size.
That's really
Yeah.
wonderful. I mean, I think that if you haven't struggled with your weight, it's a privilege to not have to ever think about those kinds of things. And
Yeah.
so
Yep.
I think when you have that kind of mindset as a business, it really does touch the hearts of people, where that it's a daily thing. It's a daily
Yeah.
thing that people struggle with. And I just think that that's beautiful that you incorporate all of that in and are very aware as a brand, because there really need to be more brands like that.
Right. I know. For me, it messes with my mind because I've gained and lost weight, multiple times, honestly. And it's always emotionally and mentally hard, feeling like, okay, I don't know where to go now because I used to shop at Lane Bryant and then I lost weight and I can't. I have to go here and I have to find. It was just always like very draining. It made shopping a very traumatic experience, actually.
Yeah.
So I wish more companies would just make it for everyone in the same set. And I don't want to see plus size in the back corner next to the maternity section. Like, that's anytime I see that, I'm like, I'm out. I won't even give my money to those places. It pisses me off.
Yes, I love that. I absolutely love that. I love that. Oh my goodness, Shay Ray, who I adore, she's one of my subscribers. She's freaking out. She just wants to know if you know a YouTuber named Bailey Sarian. If you've ever heard of her.
Yes, I love Bailey.
Okay.
She's such a sweetie pie.
Yes. So she just wanted to know because she is interested in a murder mystery makeup eyeshadow palette. So she wanted to pitch that to you. So I just figured I would throw that out since
Oh,
Shay Ray really wanted you to know that. We've got all caps and hearts and all
okay.
kinds of stuff to get my attention on that one. So I
Okay,
figured
I'm
I would throw that out
listening.
there.
I
There you
love
go.
Bailey. I love her. I love her videos. I love her personality. I watch her Instagram stories. She's such a cutie pie. She seems very. I haven't got to meet her in person yet. It's on my list for coming up soon because I just adore her channel. I think she's such a sweetheart.
She really is wonderful. I did a in-person collab with her, and then she came on live chat not that long ago. And then I saw her actually last weekend at the Ipsy Live event. So I mean, she really is very down to earth. She's our kind of people. She's good people.
Okay, I love
She's
down
good
to
people.
earth.
I vouch
Good.
for
I love
Bailey.
good
She's
people.
amazing. She's amazing.
Okay.
So speaking of the beauty community, as you know, Jeffree Star and Shane Dawson have come out with this series, and it is kind of talking about the behind the scenes. Have you been watching it?
I haven't got to watch all of them
Okay.
yet. I watched bits and pieces of the first episode. I'm
Okay.
behind. It's been kind of crazy here. I was planning
Yes.
on binge watching them all next week.
Okay. Well, one of the
But
big
I've
things.
seen a lot of the content.
Okay, so in the second episode, it was kind of exploded this information that the general public didn't really know about how much money is made, the profit margins and things like that, where he said he made $20 million off of a palette. He was talking about, the markup on makeup. And then he's put this, now it's out to millions and millions of people, that people now know the markup on makeup and how much markup there is versus the cost of the palette, that you may see. He called out Kylie Cosmetics. He says, well, this eyeshadow palette probably costs, what did he say? I think $6 to make, and she's selling it for 40, I guess. I don't know. I'm throwing these numbers out there in my audience. I
Yeah.
may be a little off on these numbers, but just to get the general
Yeah.
idea. Do you feel like giving that kind of information to the consumer will change, people's perception and what they will be willing to purchase?
I mean, it's good information to have. I mean, me as a consumer, I would want to know as well. So I wasn't upset with that at all. I think it's kind of opening a box that the beauty industry has tried to keep silent for so long. I think the only worry I have is that not every company is the same. So a lot of companies are not, like Makeup Geek. I can vouch we've never had anything at, our highest percentage is one item. It's our eyeshadows, and it's around 500% markup. And even then when people look at, they're like, oh my gosh, that's such a huge markup. But I think people are thinking that that's all profit instead of realizing to run a business. This is something I had to learn because I actually wanted the eyeshadows to be even less than what we're charging. I was like, why don't we just double the money? And then fortunately, I had business people that like, you'll go bankrupt the first year because you weren't considering the staff, the overhead, lost packages, taxes, you know, labor insurance, and all of these other things you have to do to keep a company running. I think some companies, their markups are insane. I won't even get into that little Pandora's box because I could go on a rant, but I think if you know, it's hard for the consumer to know which ones are charging ridiculous markups and which ones aren't. So you just have to be careful is all I can say on that.
Yeah, I mean, from my understanding, a lot of it goes into like, for example, like buying product, like private label product from China is much less expensive than custom formulating in the United States. So that might be an indicator of markup where, you know, you may get some single shadows from a company that it says made in China on it, and then you get a made in the United States single shadow that's the same price.
Yes. I didn't want to go there too much because I didn't want people to get mad at me thinking I was trying to bash. But if you see a product made in China and you're paying high-end prices for that, those profit margins are off. I'll just be honest, because something made in China versus the US is usually about 25% of the cost. So if I make an eyeshadow in the US, standard rate for that is, depending on how much pearls and all of that, is kind of complicated, but it could be anywhere from 90 cents up to $1.50 per shadow. Same thing if it's made in Europe. Europe is expensive as well because the labor costs more. Generally, the ingredients are higher quality. If you have that same shadow made in China, it's usually around 25 cents. So if you're paying $12 for a shadow that's made in China, you know it's 25 cents. That's a gross margin profit right there.
And what I think of right away is like Juvia's Place eyeshadows are made in China, but they're very high quality. Like when you use them, you can tell that they're made very, very well. So just because something's made in China doesn't necessarily mean that it's poor quality. But at the same time, Juvia's Place palettes are also very inexpensive. They don't do a huge markup. You know, you can get, they're always on sale. And I want to say the most expensive eyeshadow I've ever seen of theirs, maybe $25, something like that for like a huge, you know, palette. So you can tell they probably could have, based on the quality, marked that up insanely because it's such a good quality, but they didn't do that. So, you know, there are good examples of that.
Exactly.
Yes. So let me see if the community has any questions about that particular topic before I move on to something else. Oh, I love this. Diamond Doll says, Marlena's rants are educational. They aren't done with intent to be shady or to bash anyone. That's why her tone is different, and that's why we love her.
I know. I try not to rant too much. I'm like, Jen, just stop me if I'm blabbing too much. Just be like, shut up, Marlena.
Oh, no, you can keep talking, girl.
This stuff forever.
Everybody wants to know this.
5-hour video.
But everybody wants to know. So you just, you know, say what you got to say. Do what you got to do.
Exactly.
Another thing we've noticed in the community is kind of the oversaturation of cosmetics, you know, where we have like the Color Pops where they're releasing, you know, a new palette every 2 weeks. We have the Makeup Revolutions they have the Revolution line, they have the Pro line, now they have Makeup Obsession, and they are literally coming out with entire lines every single week from at least one of those lines, if not more than one line. So now we have companies like Anastasia Beverly Hills who are now kind of jumping on that and continuing and starting to produce more product. Do you have any personal thoughts on this overproduction of makeup? I guess in my opinion it's overproduction. I don't know how you feel about it, but I'd love to know your thoughts on that.
Yeah, there's definitely been a ramping up. And from a business side, I understand where they're coming from, even though I haven't followed that same business model. They do it because we as an audience get bored quickly. Like the rise of social media, things are very fast paced. We're like, we want it now. We want instant gratification. and we need constant stimulation. So I think where that's coming from is that businesses don't want their sales to dip so much, so they come out with things all the time to keep everyone interested. I think in the last 2 years, it's been so much now we're at the other extreme where everyone's just burnt out and fatigued, and we don't have enough money to go through all of these launches. So what I feel the trend coming forward is dialing it in a little bit, having very specific launches. That's what Makeup Geek is going to do. We plan on having 3, maybe 4 big launches a year with very curated collections that are very well thought out. They're timed out so people have time to use what they have and not just burn through it, toss it aside, throw it out, and move on to the next thing. Like for me, I want it to be sustainable and something you're going to get your money's worth out of. So I see that trend coming forward.
Yeah. So you're not planning on going that route of launch
No.
after launch after launch after launch. Okay.
No,
Gotcha.
I just don't think it. I mean, I can see how they want to keep their sales going, but I feel like if we do that, it's just everyone's tired of it, and it's fatigued. It's just, we're exhausted.
Well, yeah, I agree with that. And Luna Girl says the same thing. She says definitely fatigued. And I feel like, a big part of the fatigue too is the influencer marketing part of it and the constant like PR, the PR unboxings and the PR searches. And I don't know if everybody in my audience is on Twitter, but oh my gosh, the PR searches have been absolutely out of control ever since Anastasia. And not to bring up Anastasia Beverly Hills again, but I thought it was a genius idea when they came out with it, because it's giving them all this free publicity, all these, and all these people creating these beautiful looks with their products is amazing. But now it's like every single brand is doing these PR searches. So I don't know like how you feel about PR searches and Makeup Geek and how you plan on handling PR with the rebrand.
Yeah, we're sending out more PR boxes with rebrand. We have to dial it in. That's the thing too, is that over the last several years, there's so many influencers. And so I know we've had people thinking that we haven't sent out enough stuff. We used to have a list capped at 200 people. And then there's so many influencers now that we could send out thousands of packages. And for a business our size to send out thousands of packages, we'd have to do a full production run just for PR packages. And it's just financially draining on us. We have to cap it, and we try to choose ones that we feel already love the brand or use the brand or are actively participating in the community regardless of how many subscribers they have. We just want to see, are you putting the work in? Are you talented? Are you engaging with your people? And that's it. So we're going to have 250 to 300 packages going out for rebrand. So
PR will be involved, but okay.
Yes.
All right.
But we're not doing like a PR search where we have such a mass list of people that are on waiting lists. We can go through that and see, which ones fit the Makeup Geek brand.
Right. And another thing that's being brought up in the comments is about the amount of waste in sending out so much PR and in all the overproduction, that there's so much that just isn't going to be used. So another person on those lines asked about your packaging and how recyclable your packaging is.
Yeah. So our PR boxes, we originally were going to do this, beautiful box, and then we saw everyone's feedback with the amount of waste, so we decided to scratch that, and we'll have really cute bags that you can reuse and put things in. It's not going to be this. Companies do the big PR boxes because it's eye-catching and they want it, people to be excited when they see it. It's like, oh, this huge decorative box. But now again, that trend, people are like, I don't want to like hurt the environment with all of this waste. So we've decided to trim back on that. As far as our actual packaging, we're doing a lot of cardboard because it's easier to recycle. It's easier on the environment than plastic. But I will say that when we first launched, we have our travel vaults. They are plastic because we've already had them made. I told you guys that we're sitting on a ton of them, and I didn't want to toss those as well. So we will start launch with that. And when those get used up, then we'll be switching to cardboard because we feel that's more environmentally friendly. So
awesome.
We're on it. We're trying to be eco-conscious.
Oh, that's so great. Because I feel like there's really a lot that's being made right now. And it's like, especially like, not to call it Makeup Revolution. I mean, I'm on their PR list and I'm thinking maybe they might kick me off after this one. But they, I feel like they seem to produce so much every single week. Like with What's Up in Makeup, I have a list of Makeup Revolution stuff that comes out every single week. And it's like, you're making all this stuff. Where is it all going to end up? It's all going to end up in landfill. Like, it's like, oh my gosh, it's too much.
Yeah.
It's too much. So
Even
that's
me personally as a consumer, because I love to buy makeup, and I've literally been not buying as much lately because even me, it's like I own a makeup company, but I'm still like, oh, at Sephora all the time looking for new stuff. And I had to cap it because literally I'm buying more IKEA shelves to hold my stuff. And finally it was like, I'm spending more time organizing and sorting through all my stuff than actually using it. This is wasteful. I felt
right.
guilty. Even I have
Yeah.
so much, even all my family, I'm like, please take this makeup. They're like, no, I'm good. You gave me so much. I have enough for the next 5 years. So says a lot. You have a
Yeah.
lot of stuff when even your family's like, please stop.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Absolutely. Yeah, it's absolutely crazy. Like the amount of
It
stuff
is.
that and we
Yeah.
only got one face,
I know,
you know?
right? I mean,
Like
I know I can wash it and do it over again, but I ain't got time for that.
I know. Like, who wants to do their makeup more than once? I mean, I guess you can if you want
I
to. If
know.
that's your,
You
hey,
can. I know.
there's probably a group of people that love to do their makeup more than once. No hate, no shame. Do your
Yeah,
thing.
I know. Yeah,
It's not
I
me,
know.
but you do you.
I know. I used to in my 20s, and now I'm like, I'm too tired.
Yeah. Oh, I hear ya. I hear ya. It's too much. It's too much. So, speaking of only having one face, people were wondering if you would have ever thought about doing a skincare line.
I actually have thought of it. Some products that Makeup Geek is coming out are kind of hybrids, I'd like to say. They're skincare type products that are infused with, like our concealers and foundations that are coming out will have skincare like properties to them. So I'm really excited about that.
Oh.
But as far as actual skincare, that's more in my 5 year plan. It wouldn't be anytime soon just because I've really got to focus on Makeup Geek right now and building up Marste before I take on yet another project. You guys know I'm working on jewelry line too, so there's a lot going on.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, I
my
forgot about
energy's
the
like,
jewelry line. That's a whole nother thing,
I know.
girl.
That's a whole nother thing.
Yeah. So is your
It's
jewelry
all
for
good stuff,
sale
but
now? I forget. I can't
no,
remember.
not yet. It
Okay.
hasn't, it won't come out until next year. I have all the designs done. I found a manufacturer that's here in the US, which I'm really excited about. But I want to do it. It's one of those things I feel like I always announce things too early because I get so excited. I want to tell everyone because I'm like, I want you to be part of the ride with me. So me and my
Right.
big mouth announce it, and then people are like, whatever happened to that? I'm like, no, it's coming. It's just a lot of work. It takes a while. So that's our plan for 2020 after
Nice.
rebrand.
I was gonna say, like, I have a link in the video description to Makeup Geek and Marse, but I don't have your jewelry line because it's not there yet. So now
Yeah.
I know I didn't
Yep,
mess
it's
up
not
there.
there yet.
So that's
Nope.
good. Now, now you have been on YouTube for so long. You were on YouTube for since as long as I can remember. I remember seeing you
Yes.
on YouTube, and
Yeah.
recently you made the choice to leave YouTube and really focus on your businesses. How do you
Yes.
feel about that decision that you made? Do you feel like it's been a positive thing for you, or do you miss it?
It's been both. I when I broke down my studio, I'm still sitting kind of in my studio, but it's not built out. Like I moved a couch in here and a TV, so it's kind of a living room slash makeup room now. But when I was breaking it down, I'm not gonna lie, I got really emotional and I had like a complete meltdown. I was really crying because it's one of those things where you've had 12 years of your life devoted to this, and it was like the biggest highs and the biggest lows of my life happened during that time. So there's like this emotional connection to it. But since I feel like with the YouTube community, I feel like it's gone a direction that just doesn't fit me personally anymore. And I only have so much time to devote to different things. It was a really tough decision, but I feel at peace about it, even though there's part of me that's sad. So it's like mixed emotions with it.
Yeah. So when you said you felt like YouTube's going in a different direction, what do you mean by that?
So I think people are oversaturated with the tutorials, the makeup education, and that's what I personally love the most. I love teaching makeup, but whenever I did those videos, they were my least viewed. So I would spend my time away from my companies to do that, and I would have to pay a videographer to edit that. And YouTube money just isn't like what it was. Like, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, YouTube does not pay doo-doo. So I was losing money by keeping the YouTube channel running, and I was spending time I really didn't have to do that, but I stuck with it because I truly loved it. But then finally it was a decision with my whole team. We're like, look, we're spending X amount to keep this running. We need you more, on running this company. So it was kind of had to do what was best versus
Right.
what I internally wanted.
Gotcha. Do you
Yeah.
think that maybe you might ever go back to YouTube and making videos maybe one day, or?
Yeah, I mean, I'll still post some videos on there. Like, I'll do a life update. I'll do like when the rebrand announcement comes, I'll be on there to do that. So I'll still be on YouTube, just
Okay.
not very often. It'll just be when it'll be when it's something important to say.
Okay, so people should not
Be doing
unsubscribe.
No, stay subscribed because I'll have a video that will go up in December. So I'll have one. Actually, I'll have two videos that month because I have a huge life update and I have the rebrand talking about that. And then I will be teaching makeup classes starting early 2020 as well. We're still trying to find the best place to host that. But
Wow.
that will be really cool because it's a master's makeup class. It will be an actual curriculum of makeup for anyone who really wants to learn and get nitty gritty with techniques. I'll be teaching that.
Wow, so
So you can
that
find
would
me there.
be like a standalone, like a business location where people would come and do that, or would it be like a traveling
Nope.
thing?
It'd be a webinar.
A
So it'll
webinar.
be a
Ah.
live webinar where you can join live, ask questions. I'll have an ebook that'll be included, and then I'll be demonstrating and talking about very specific topics every other week is when it'll happen. So that'll be starting hopefully January.
Wow. So that
Yeah,
kind of
I'm really
goes along
excited
with
about
the
that.
rebrands as far as the timing, it
Yes.
sounds like.
Yes. So I'll
Ah,
still be teaching education, but I just
yeah.
chose not to do it on YouTube just because I felt that videos now that do well there are very like drama videos or
Mm,
lifestyle videos. It wasn't, I feel like the makeup education isn't as received there.
yeah.
So that's why I'm choosing to do it on a webinar type platform.
It makes perfect sense. You got to go where
Yeah.
people want it, and
Yes,
and with the webinar,
exactly.
people would sign up there, right?
Yes, it'd be
So,
a paid
yeah.
class. It wouldn't be very much. You would get product with it. For me, I'd rather teach a makeup class that's really nitty gritty to say 100 people or 1,000 people versus 20,000 people that really don't want it for the education. They just want to see me or, whatever. I want it to be very educational based and just have
Right.
a group of people come on and ask questions live and such. So,
So, do
yeah.
you have any idea of a range of? I know you probably can't say exactly how much it would cost for the webinar, but are we talking like a $50, $100,
hmm
$200? Like,
So there'd be different levels based on how
okay.
much product you get. So like not the bottom, like the entry level would be like $50 and it'd be an
Okay.
hour class. You get an ebook with it. You would get some product. If you want a bigger set of product, that would go up to I think $100.
Okay.
So somewhere
Okay.
in there.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And you're getting products, so it's if you were planning on buying the product
hmm
anyway, then it goes along with
Yes.
that. And then the
Yeah, and
tips
the
and
product
tricks
goes
to
along with the
use the
class.
product.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice. All these
Yeah.
thoughts, Marlena, all these
I know.
ideas. Is it
I
exhausting
know.
being you with all these ideas? My goodness.
No, that's what I love is the creative. If I could just do that all day, I would just be like a creative person. I have so many. I want to open a
Yes.
restaurant one day, and I want to do
Oh
like.
my
There's so many
gosh.
things I already have business plans written up for.
Oh
It's kind
my
of
gosh.
crazy.
If you could open up any kind of restaurant, what would you open?
The one I want to actually open would be a multicultural cuisine. So it would be like
Mm.
a beautiful restaurant with like lights inside, but each section of the menu would have different cuisines from different countries, different drinks from each country. It would be very multicultural, but it would be done in a very just elegant but fun way. So I
Nice.
already know what the restaurant's going to look like and everything. That's
Oh
that's the
my
10-year
gosh, that's
plan.
so cool. I love that. So we got a 5-year plan, we got a 10-year plan, we
10-year
got all this
plan.
going on. Nice. Now, in this, maybe this year's plan, maybe you'll have to tell me, there was a
Mhm.
Netflix series. And I know
Yes.
people were wondering about what is happening with that. When is it coming out?
I
Is this even still
know.
happening? What's going on? Give us
Yes.
the tea.
Yeah. I know. So as far as I know, it's still happening. I keep asking the film crew, and I think everyone gets upset with me, but I'm like, it's not my documentary, it's Netflix, and they're very. I mean, it's the executives at Netflix have to determine the timing and all that. So what I heard last is that it's supposed to be coming next month, but I don't know the name of it or anything yet. So I will bug the film crew next week and ask them like, could I get any details at all? Because we're all waiting. Like even me, I'm like, come on, I want to see this documentary by now.
Yeah.
So as
Are
soon as I get
you
more info, I will blast it.
are you allowed to talk any details about what it is or what it's about?
It talks about different parts of the industry. I mean, I was only one part of it. The part that I
Okay.
filmed talked about like some of makeup production, some about counterfeit makeup that's come out on the market. Some of it is
Oh.
about influencer marketing. It just touched on a variety of different topics, so it's multiple things. Yeah.
Nice, nice. So it isn't the Marlena Stell documentary.
No,
It,
no, it's about makeup.
gotcha. It's
They
like,
just wanted
right.
my input on it, but it's not a Marlena documentary. It's a
I,
Netflix one.
Now this one's a little bit back a little bit in our conversation, but I've seen this asked multiple times, and I know there are a lot of people that really want to know the answer to this. Will Makeup Geek be back on Beauty Bay?
We aren't sure. We're hoping so. Either way, we'll be in the UK as much as we can. The thing is with rebranding, I'll try to give you the short version. Whenever you rebrand, if anything changes, the packaging, the formulas, anything that's outside of the US, we have to get it certified. So we have to get it EU certified to make sure it's compliant to sell in that country. So, and that process can take up to 6 months. So we may rebrand by
Wow.
January, but we may not be able to get it into other countries until 6 months later, just because we have to send final everything to get it certified, final packaging, all of that before they will do all of their testing and then pass it through for us to sell in other countries. So that's why there's kind of a delay, and we're so low on inventory right now in preparation for bringing out a ton of new product coming soon. So
So you want to
I will
get it
keep you
back in
guys
Beauty
updated.
Bay?
Yes, yep. Once we get through
Just the
our
process.
certification and all of that stuff, it's just a process. So
And then
yeah.
CJ just reminded me the Makeup Geek pricing that you had started with, which was closer to
Mhm.
drugstore pricing. Is that going to continue with the rebranding?
Yes, actually, some prices are going down. Actually, we got better deals with some labs, and so some of the pricing is actually lower than what we started with.
Wow. Oh,
So,
well,
but the
there you
quality's
go.
still there. Still the
Nice.
same quality.
Nice.
We're really hustling, you guys.
Yes. And then Beauty by Lily wants to know if you're still going to be doing Beauty and the Boss, which was, if you haven't seen Beauty and the Boss, it's amazing over on Marlena's channel where she goes and she meets somebody
Yes.
and she teaches them about, she gives them basically like a big makeover and teaches you, like gives you tips and tricks on hair and makeup and everything in the video. And then that person teaches her something and they go into the story of the person and everything. It's a fantastic series. Are you planning to continue
Yeah.
that?
I would love to. That is my goal, but it truly depends on if I get other sponsors on board, because to be honest, that series takes a lot of money to make, because it's not just, I mean, it's a literal film crew with 2 days of shooting, going on location. It's a huge project. It may seem like, oh, this is just a 20-minute video, but the planning and all that gets very costly. And the views weren't where I wanted it to be for that. And so that's why we had to take a break from it, because it's like, I thought it would be better received on YouTube, thinking it would get a lot more views to kind of help cover the cost of production for that. It just wasn't there. So we'll see what happens. I'm kind of like stepping back to see like what happens with YouTube in the next several months, to see, if we'll get more traction for it or whatnot. But I would love to do it because I think it's such a great series, but it's very sensitive and very
Yeah.
time consuming.
Yeah, and like kind of like you were saying earlier about like the focus of YouTube and what people are watching is it seems like for
Mhm.
whatever reason people seem to focus a lot on the negative, and that was such a positive
Mhm.
series. I mean, think reality
Yeah.
TV the way that you would want it to be, with lots of
Mhm.
positive and lifting people
Yeah.
up and women power and all of that, and it
Yeah.
was like what it just I noticed that the views weren't where I thought that they should be, considering the production
I
value and I
know.
was like, what
I
is even
know.
happening? I think I tweeted each one out
I
like
know.
four times each. I was like, you have to
Yes, I saw that. I was like, oh my
watch this,
God. I know.
please.
I
I
know. And I was so
tried.
gutted too. And then I
Yeah.
posted the video, like just me getting stuff off my chest. It has like 4 million views. And I'm like, where are these views for the Beauty and the Boss? But
I
it's just the
know.
trend of what
Right.
people want to watch. And that's kind of
Right.
partly the decision. I was like, okay, let me step back for a little bit and figure
Yeah.
out plan B.
Now, do you? I don't know. The predictions, though. I mean, there's such an influx of drama on YouTube. Like,
Mhm.
do we think that this is going to change anytime soon? Like, are people going to get tired of the negative eventually? Are people just going to just
Mhm.
continue to focus on that, or will there be there's no way to know, but will there be a shift? I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, my prediction is that YouTube is going to be the next, I mean, it already is the next TV. It's more for entertainment value. Whereas when I had first
Mm,
started with YouTube, it was very like, you're sitting with your best friend in your living room, you're putting on makeup. It was very like homegrown, like you're just at home, it's just getting to know people, but now it's a place of entertainment. So it's not really about education or, down to earth. It's about being entertained, which is nothing wrong with that, but that's just the shift that I see it continue to go in. So,
Yeah, that's a really
yeah.
good point about the entertainment factor of it.
Hmm.
It's
Yeah.
it's it's interesting. It's kind of twisted though that the negative is more entertaining than the
Yeah.
positive. It's like, are we really like
Yeah.
that? Like, but we are. I mean,
Yeah.
it's the
We
curiosity
are.
thing. We are. It's human
It
nature,
is.
I
It
guess.
is. I know. We
Unfortunately.
need that extra stimulation in our lives, to get us through the work week.
I guess so. It's like somebody's life's worse than mine. At least I'm not that
I know.
person.
I
You know?
know.
Oh my gosh. Well, and also, the audience on YouTube seems to be a lot younger. I don't know. I guess there's people that are older, that a lot of people that are older that are watching YouTube as well. But it seems like,
Yeah.
with inclusivity, a lot of times people over 30, people over 40, people over 50 are kind of left out of the
Hmm.
equation of that. And
Yeah.
it's kind of sad that that's kind of the way that it is. Do you have any advice for people that are our age or older that want to be on YouTube and do things on YouTube, but they're feeling
Hmm.
like they're not fitting in for whatever reason?
I think there's actually definitely an audience there now. I think it's actually in demand because, like, people my age and older, like I'll be 40 in a couple months. I feel like those 40 and older are wanting a place to come and socialize and hang out and all of that. So I think there's a need for it. So if you're truly marketing yourself as 40 and older and showing techniques, there's definitely an audience there for it. It's just trying to find you and making sure you really market yourself as, this is a beauty channel for 40 and older, because I mean, people, there's an audience.
I
Yeah.
agree. And hopefully they don't have to be
Yeah.
full of drama in order to get the attention for it.
I know,
Hopefully.
right? I know.
It's crazy,
Yeah.
man. Absolutely
I
crazy.
know.
I'm kind of skimming through my questions here and seeing if there's anything we missed because we've got about 13 minutes left or so.
Okay.
Let's see. How about some more personal questions? So, what
Yeah.
someone asked, which I thought was such a sweet question, is what do you like to do for fun?
Ooh. I like to do a lot of things, but I'm very family oriented, so I love, like, just my mom and I going to get pedicures or going out to get coffee. I love going out on dates with my husband or snuggling with the dogs or staying home and watch Netflix. Um, when it's nice out in Washington, I love being outside, going for walks, bike riding. I play the piano a lot. I do like a lot of variety. I get bored very easily, so I have to mix it up. And oh, I love to cook and gardening. I did gardening the first time this year. So that the social media break was
Ah.
very good for my personal well-being. Yeah.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah.
What do you like to cook?
I love cooking everything. I'm a horrible baker. Don't ask me to
Okay.
bake cookies because they will be burnt and hard and crunchy. You'll throw them away. But I can cook like 5-course meals, like ton
Wow.
of different cuisines, like Italian, Mexican, Indian, you name it. I love cooking. Yeah.
Nice. And then what did you grow in your garden?
This time I just did a bunch of herbs. I did
Oh.
like parsley, basil, oregano, thyme, rosemary. I had like all these plants. I went crazy. I started with one. I was like, I'm just gonna try garden. I've never gardened before, but now I'm in
Yeah.
Washington. I'm like, it's perfect weather. Then went crazy, kept going back to get more herbs. It was like the running joke of my family. My mom was like, "Who are you?" She's like, "What did you do with my daughter? Who is this gardening person?" But I would cook with it every
Oh
night. They
my gosh, that's
appreciated my
great.
herbs. They
Fresh
like
herbs
the
do
feel
taste
too, but
different.
it's like they do. They're so good and they're so good for you.
Yeah.
So, whatever.
All right, now favorite
Yeah.
Netflix. Favorite things on Netflix.
Oh, The Sinner. Have you watched that? The show
No.
with Jessica Biel in there?
No.
Girl, if you love mysteries,
All
it's
right, where's
so
my
good. I
pen?
binge watched the whole first season in 2 days. I was addicted. It's so
Oh,
good.
here we go. The
So I love The
Sinner, huh?
Sinner.
Writing it down.
The Sinner. I love, you guys could tell the theme of what I like to watch. I watch cold case files. I love mysteries
Oh.
and detective series. Um, what else did I watch? I'll have to go through my list. I always have
Yeah.
friends playing in the background just when I'm doing stuff like cooking, just because it's fun and entertaining.
Yeah.
But anything mystery. So if you guys have
Very
mystery
cool.
shows that you love on Netflix, hit me up so I know what to watch next.
Nice. Well, maybe they can put it down in the comments once the video renders and you can kind of flip through
Yeah.
and see what people have suggested for you to watch on Netflix.
Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome. Very cool. A lot of people were asking, they just wanted to know if you're happy. Like, how are you doing? Like, as a person, like, how are you? There was so much love especially in my YouTube
Oh.
community tab. I mean, it was just bursting with love. So, just how
Oh.
are you? How are you doing?
Honestly, I can truly say this has been the best time in my life for many years. Like, I feel the last couple years were the most horrific by far years of my life, and there was so much toxicity, and once I just cut all of that out, I feel like a new person, honestly. Like, I'm in an amazing relationship. I love living in Washington. I've actually been happier cutting back on social media, even though I miss it some. And it's like, there's part of me that's sad, but for my overall well being, it's been amazing because now I have time to, spend time with my mom and garden and do all these things that I was neglecting because I was spending so much time trying to just stay on top of social media. So I'm
Yeah.
in such a better place. Like, my health is better. This is truly the most healthy I've been in a really long time.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
so wonderful to hear. It makes me so happy to hear. That's
Yay.
wonderful. And I'm sure everybody's
Yes.
really excited to hear that because, watching your journey and the things that you brought to light about domestic abuse and things like that. And
Hmm.
if you
Yes.
are not familiar with Marlena and you are interested in her take on that, she has a beautiful video about dealing with domestic abuse. And it was just,
Yeah.
it was, I
Oh,
can't recommend it
and
enough. Yes, ma'am. Yes, go ahead.
yes, if you watch that, and that was, I feel like I went through all of that. I've looked back at it now, like, even though it was the most horrific thing I've gone through, I know that I went through it for a purpose because now moving forward, a lot of like, this is another thing with rebrand that will be different is a portion of all sales. Sorry, my bracelet dropped. Portion of all sales will be going to domestic organizations. So
Wow.
yeah, so that will be like something really cool with Makeup Geek is I want it to be a platform to not just sell makeup. I want it to be something bigger and more than that. So I want it to always have a piece that will tie in with something I personally went through and that can actually do some really good things for other people out there who've been abused in any way.
That's
So
fantastic. That's really wonderful. And I think that
yeah.
that's encouraging to other people too, that there is somebody that
Hmm.
cares. There are people that are thinking
Hmm.
about them and wish well for them. I think that's just
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
getting all
Yeah.
verklempt over here. um,
Like, that's my life
yes.
goal is to get
Yes.
I mean, ultimately my favorite plan is to have my own organization where it would have abuse shelters all over the country that would house people that are trying to escape that and have like classes
Wow.
and seminars for them and just get them some help. That's my ultimate dream,
Right.
is to have all these companies have a purpose of something that it's doing, it's benefiting.
Right.
um so
Well,
yeah.
there was that one shelter that you were supporting that we actually
Uh-huh.
talked about. My monthly favorites and fails. One month we had that as our hashtag not sponsored feature, and I donated the AdSense to them. So
Yay.
you've done. Can you remind me the name of it because it's been a little while?
It's Hawk. It's HAWC. It's Houston Area's Women's Center. It's in Houston, Texas, and they have a huge facility. It's amazing. I forget what their numbers are, but they take in tons of people every night. They have educational programs, daycare for the kids, classes on, how to recover from abuse. It's a really good shelter. So if you're in Texas, it's hawc.org.
And I think I remember this. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think they had a program for teenagers, and it was teaching
I
them
think
like
so.
kind of what to look for in a boyfriend kind of thing. Like it was like
Yes.
a
Yep.
training for teenagers about, these are the warning signs that you're not with a good person. And it's like,
Yeah.
where was that when I needed
I
that?
know.
Like that is
See, me
such an
too. Like,
incredible
if I had
idea.
it is. It's like if I had seen that class, maybe I could have avoided certain things that I just wasn't paying attention to. So
I
yeah, they're amazing. They
know.
have really good classes.
And like the things that you don't realize, it's like especially verbal abuse, you don't realize the manipulation and the gaslighting and
Hmm.
all of that. Like you don't even
Oh,
realize it until you're in so
yeah.
deep. And it's like, but then, but they're
Yep.
really nice sometimes, but then they're really mean other times.
Hmm.
And you just wait for the good. It just,
Yep.
that would have been so helpful. So I
It's
think, yeah, I was just going to say, I think that supporting those kinds of organizations it's so important.
And it's so common. I mean, if you talk to any friends, a lot of people are afraid to talk about it. But once, like when I started talking about my story, everyone came out of the
Right.
woodwork. People I'd known for years were like, yeah, I was too. And everyone's afraid to talk about it. But
Mhm.
I think the stats were like 1 in 3 or 1 in every 4 women has been abused at some point. And that's
It's a
horrible.
lot.
Those are horrible numbers. It's so common. So
It's
it's
a
got to
lot.
change.
It's a
Yeah.
lot. Okay,
Yeah.
we've got about 5 minutes left, and
Okay.
so I want to get in just a couple more things. There are a lot of influencer lines being launched, and there are a lot of people that are
hmm
curious if you've seen the sneak peeks of Tati Beauty that's coming out, and what your thoughts are
Yeah.
if you've seen it.
I've seen a sneak peek. I'm so happy for her. I really think it'll be a good job just because I've known her work ethic behind the scenes for many years now. And so I know she's going to do a killer job on it just because she has such strong work ethic. So I'm excited to try it. I already told her, I was like, I hope I get a set because I'm going to be wearing the shiznit out of that.
And trying it out and see how it is. Now, do you ever
Yeah.
feel like do you feel like an internal competition with other influencers in Makeup Geek?
No, I never have because I mean, as we've seen, there's room for everyone. I mean, the whole beauty industry has exploded, and yes, there's a lot of competition. However, we all know like you may have 10 million neutral palettes, but if you see someone that's from someone you love, or it may have a different spin on it, we're still gonna buy it. So I feel like the moment when brand owners get territorial and feel competitive is when you just start to stress yourselves out. Just focus on doing the best that you can and stop worrying about what everyone else is doing. And
Yeah,
there's that.
absolutely. And that was one thing I took out of the last episode. I don't want to give spoilers for you of the Jeffree Star and Shane
Yeah.
Dawson series. Is they were talking about, well,
hmm
Jeffree was saying how when he has a launch, he like tells his brand owner friends, "Hey, I have this launch coming here," and then they try to space their launches apart as to not step on each other. And I thought that was really
Exactly.
cool to like
That's
know that
cool.
that happens. Like I had no idea. I thought
hmm
that was so interesting. Have you had any experience
hmm
with that?
I haven't had experience with that per se, but I have a lot of other CEO friends that I talk with. We share tips and ideas, and I mean there is some definitely good people behind that don't feel threatened and want to collaborate. I mean, I feel like the more you can work with other people, the better it bets the whole community. So I think
Yeah.
that's really cool.
And it's so funny
Yeah.
how it's like the ugly side of the beauty community and everything's so ugly and
Uh,
everybody's in competition. But then you talk to
yeah.
people that are actually like CEOs, brand owners, behind the scenes people, and they're like,
hmm
we actually all kind of get along.
Yeah, I know. It's like, sorry to disappoint you guys.
Yeah, it's
I
like,
mean, there is some pettiness that happen. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. It's like that with any industry though. It could be like the automotive industry. I'm sure that Ford and
yeah.
whoever were like, but at the end of the day, they're like, oh, let's go have dinner.
There you go. That's really cool. That's so great to know. It's so funny. I mean, it's not as controversial as probably people want to hear, but
I know. I know.
that's really cool. That's so
Yeah.
awesome. I'm looking to see because we have time for like one more question. Oh, this was a good one, and I'm curious about this too. I actually
Okay.
got to hang out with you for the first time at your slumber party in Texas because I just, I
Yes.
like to travel. I like to go places. So I actually took a trip. It was like a 24-hour trip. I flew down, I hung out at Marlena's slumber
I
party
know.
for Marste and Makeup Geek, and then I stayed in my Airbnb and I flew home. And it was
Yep.
such a cool experience. It was so fun. Marlena and I were sitting on the couch hanging out after everybody left, just chatting
I
it
know, like
up and
night in our pajamas.
in our
It was a fun
pajamas.
night. That was
It
so
was
fun.
so
Yeah.
fun. Do you have plans to do more of those slumber parties? Because it was so cool.
Yes. Yes. We're actually hoping to do a Seattle one in February. So that'll probably be the next one
Nice.
is Seattle and then trying to see what other cities but oh, they were so fun. That was probably the best night I've had in forever. It was so fun. I'm so glad you flew
That's
out, Jen. I
fun.
was like, oh my
Yes.
gosh, you flew all the way out here for this. And you were
Yes.
so cute in your pajamas.
Yeah, I had my I think there's still a live stream up, I think, of me in my giraffe pajamas somewhere on my channel.
They were so
Oh, it was
cute.
fun. We had a good time.
I
It
loved
was
them.
And the thing was, it was totally worth it. And if you do, people watching, if you have a chance to go to one of Marlena's, one of her events, they really are fun. And everybody got along so well. There was no drama. Like, it was like everybody just had a blast, you know? And
yeah, we just literally, it's part of it is we want to be comfortable. I was like, I am not doing an event where everyone has to wear heels and be hurting all night. I was like, no, I'm coming in slippers and my pajamas. We're going to eat some great food, talk, chit chat, play some games. Like, that's all I want.
Yes, it was wonderful. So I hope that you get to do lots more of those. All right, I've got.
Hell yes.
Oh, go ahead. Yes. Okay, one more question because we're at our 1 hour mark. Will there ever be an eyeshadow palette called That Woman?
Yes, there will be. And there may or may not be a podcast and a book in the works as well. So we'll see.
The things that certain situations inspire.
I know, right?
Oh,
but
my
I'm
gosh,
do a positive
yes.
twist on it, because when I presented it to my team, I had this whole presentation. I was like, look, I'm going to take this and make it a positive thing.
Yeah.
And I want to do a podcast talking about women's issues and all that, but I want it to be very positive focused. I'm taking lemons and I'm making lemonade. So
Yes.
Yes.
I mean, I think we should all be proud to be that woman. Like, if that woman is a good person that loves to help people and wants to do good things for the world, we all want to be that woman, you know? Like,
right? Exactly.
I want to be that woman. I don't know if people watching. I want to be that woman. Gladly be that woman. Thank you so much, Marlena, for coming on live chat. It was so wonderful having you, and hopefully the audience enjoyed it as well. It really was a fantastic chat, and I know I learned a lot. So thank you so much for taking the time. Really appreciate it. And thank you to the audience that's here live. I appreciate you all. And those of you watching on the replay, leave your comments. I know there were a lot of people leaving comments that I didn't get a chance to read. Feel free to come back on the replay and leave those in the comment section down below. And mad love to you. And Marlena and I will see you very, very soon. Bye.
Yes, thanks for having me, Jen.
Oh, you're welcome. Thanks for being here. Oh, did you want to say anything else before we go?
I miss you guys, and thanks for your support. Like, I truly wouldn't be here without you. I know it sounds fake when I say that, but I truly mean it. Like, I try not to get teary-eyed when I say it, but thanks for your support. I always, like, am so grateful.
Oh, I love that. Thank you so much. Thanks again for being on here, Marlena. I appreciate it. I'll talk. Well, hang up now. Well, we can talk afterward. We'll turn off the chat and we'll debrief. All right. See y'all soon. Mad love. Bye.
Bye.